Have you ever had one of those close calls on the road? You know, that heart-stopping moment where everything just seems to slow down? Well, what protects you in that split second isn't just luck, it's actually decades of hidden science, some pretty mind-blowing math, and a whole lot of clever engineering. So let's dive into the amazing story of how our cars got so incredibly smart about keeping us safe.
It's kind of wild to think about, right? That simple click of your seatbelt, it connects you to this huge, invisible history of innovation. It's a story that, believe it or not, started with some pretty rough and tumble experiments and has now become something that feels like it's straight out of science fiction.
And that is the big question we're going to tackle in this explainer. We're going to peel back the layers of metal and tech to really see the journey, from just brute force crash tests to the elegant, predictive power of AI and math today.
Okay, so to understand where we are now, we've got to start at the very beginning. Long before computers could simulate a single thing, the only way to learn how to make cars safer was to smash them, for real. This was the era of hands-on, high-impact physical testing.
When you look at this timeline, it's pretty clear how fast things had to evolve. The early research back in the 50s was, let's be honest, pretty grim. But it pushed innovators to find a better way, which led to the invention of crash test dummies, like the legendary Sierra Sam in the 70s. And by the 90s, all that research led to airbags becoming standard, which slashed fatalities by almost 20%. Every single step here was a massive leap forward.
But here's the catch. While all this physical testing was absolutely vital, it had a huge drawback: the cost. We're talking over $100,000 for just one test. Now imagine trying to test for every possible angle, every speed, every scenario. It was slow, it was incredibly expensive, and there was just no way it could cover every danger out there, especially those rare but deadly crashes like rollovers.
But hey, don't get me wrong, that investment really did pay off. These early, expensive tests gave us the foundational safety features we all rely on every single day. Things like seatbelts, those brilliant crumple zones that basically act like shock absorbers for the car's body, and of course, the star rating systems that let us, the consumers, make smarter, safer choices.
So, all those limitations of physical testing, they totally set the stage for revolution. And in the 21st century, the game completely changed with digital modeling and artificial intelligence. This was a whole new world for car safety.
So let me introduce you to THOR. This is not your grandfather's crash test dummy, that's for sure. THOR stands for Test Device for Human Occupant Restraint, and it's an absolute marvel of engineering. It's packed with over 150 sensors, measuring impacts all over the body. It helps engineers simulate how all different kinds of people would respond in a crash, giving them this incredibly rich, detailed data.
And just look at this comparison. The difference is just night and day. Physical tests were slow, super expensive, and really limited. AI simulations, they're the complete opposite. Engineers can now run thousands, literally thousands, of different crash scenarios in a virtual world almost instantly. They can explore a nearly infinite number of possibilities, all at a fraction of the cost. This lets them test for everything, not just the most common accidents.
But here's the thing. Even AI can't predict everything. The real world is messy, you know? It has rain, road debris, unpredictable drivers. And this is where, believe it or not, some 19th century mathematics becomes our invisible shield against the accidents that nobody sees coming.
We're talking about something called tail risks. You might have heard of them as black swan events. Basically, think of them as those highly improbable, really extreme accidents that standard models, which are focused on the most common crashes, can just completely miss. They're the 1 in a million events that can have absolutely devastating consequences.
And here's a perfect real-world example from back in 2018. A truck spilled its cargo on a freeway. A car hits that debris, and its side panel fails in a totally unexpected way. This was a classic black swan, something conventional testing just hadn't prepared for. So how on earth do you protect against something you can't even predict?
Well, the answer, amazingly, comes from the work of a French mathematician from the 1800s named Augustin Louis Cauchy. His principles give engineers a mathematical framework to stress test for the absolute outer limits of what's possible. It helps them design parts that are robust enough to handle even these super rare high-impact events. It's just math working silently in the background to save our lives. Okay, so we've got smarter tests and we've got better math. But what about the actual people inside the car? Well, the next giant leap in safety is all about making sure that cars are designed to protect everyone, not just one specific type of person.
See, the problem for decades was that crash test dummies were based on the average man, and this meant that safety systems weren't always optimized for women or for children or for elderly passengers, who can all be much more vulnerable in a crash. When it comes to safety, one size definitely does not fit all.
And this is where modern tech gives us this absolutely brilliant solution: digital twins. These are incredibly detailed virtual human models that can represent a huge range of ages, sizes, and genders. So now, engineers can run their simulations with a whole virtual family inside the car, making sure that the safety features work effectively for every single passenger. So, this incredible story of innovation, from smashing real cars to creating digital twins, has made our roads safer than they have ever been. But the story isn't over. And believe it or not, you have a really important part to play in what happens next.
You can actually be an active part of this safety revolution. By going to websites like nhtsa.gov or euroncap.com, you can look up the safety ratings for your car or any car you're thinking about buying. When we choose safe for cars, we send a really powerful message to car makers, and that helps drive the entire industry toward a safer future for all of us. And as we look ahead, to self-driving cars and even more advanced AI, it's so important to remember that technology alone isn't the whole answer. It's the combination, the wisdom of smart technology working together with thoughtful human oversight that's going to truly keep us safe as driving continues to evolve.
And really, that's the big takeaway here. The story of car safety is a story about human ingenuity. And as it keeps unfolding, our curiosity, our choices, and our voices are what will shape the road ahead. By staying informed and engaged, we all get to help drive the future safely.